Do you think a person has to fully accept themselves to live a complete and happy life?
To a certain extent, I think so. Because I think we should acknowledge that we're different and we should embrace it. But I also believe that you should be able to accept who you are because you're only going to be happy in life once you're happy with you. Because if you are struggling with something like I still struggle today, and I believe I will always struggle with things, but the main thing is that if you can fully find happiness with yourself and love yourself, you can show that to other people too.
Are you proud that your dad's your dad?
Yeah,
Why are you proud?
because I get to go do things that other kids can't. Like, I get to experience more, and they just, they're boring. My life is eventful.
They're my world. I love everything about them. And I wouldn't change anything except I would change a few things, but most things I wouldn't change because I love being their dad. I mean, the one thing I would change is obviously if I had someone with me, but I've grown to learn that that's not the most important thing in life. There's more to life than just that. And that took me years to realize. But I'm at that point in my life now where I'm like, I'm cool. I'm cool with this. It's good. It may be tough at times, but my girls are very helpful. Very helpful.
What do you hope people say when they meet your dad for the first time?
That he's not scary and that they shouldn't be scared of him and stuff like that. And hope that they just think that he's like a nice guy. Because he is. He's a very nice guy.
Is he ever mean?
To me sometimes, but to other people, no.
What's it like to be a single dad?
Yeah, it can be rough. It can be very rough at times. I miss having a full family, and a lot of times that crosses my mind. And I miss having somebody, and I don't have someone I can depend on when my girls go through girl things. Like, I don't know how to deal with certain things, and I'm like, how do I do this?
Do you feel like your dad understands you?
Sometimes, all the time. Sometimes, but not all the time. Like, I'll like be saying this one thing, and he'll be like, "What are you talking about?" And like, I'll have to explain it. He'll still want to get it, and I have to explain it even more. But then he'll get it. But it's still fine.
It makes me feel bad because they don't have, the motherly figure to look up to. All they have is dad. And there's things they don't want to talk to me about because they're girls. And I get it. Ultimately, I'm all they got. And they're the first thing that I have to think of with anything. And I want to make sure they're taken care of, they're safe, they're happy. I want them to know that they're loved. I don't want them to think back to times in the past where people walked out. I want them to know that not everyone is going to hurt you, and that no matter what, I will be there for them through anything.
Tell me about the journey that you and your daughters have been on since their mom left.
It's been rough at times, especially right after she left, because immediately I thought of how do I raise kids on my own? How do I do this without their mother? And not just physically being there, mentally being there, but financially being there too. And having to have the courage to do things, like having to make their dentist appointments, make their doctor's appointments, because I always depended on their mother too, because I was too scared to talk to people. I was too afraid to be in front of people and be like, I need to make this appointment for my kids. And I would stutter with my words because I was so nervous. And
What was the root of that fear?
the way I saw myself, the way I looked at myself. Because like I said, I had a horrible view of what I looked like. And I struggled with it. You would think after so many years you'd be used to it, but it takes a while to get used to it. And I just figured that because I saw myself so low and worthless that everybody else would think that. And if I went to make an appointment or whatever for my kids, that they would just be like, are you even their dad? Are you even able to be a dad? Are you able to take care of them? And I was scared that maybe like child services would get involved and take them away, thinking I couldn't do this for them. And thankfully that never happened. But these were the thoughts that went through my head. Like I would constantly worry, how am I going to do this and this for them? I can't do this. But at the same time, it was strengthening because there was no one else. So I had to tell myself, look, you have to. You don't have a choice right now. These kids need you. So you need to step up. Get rid of this image of yourself and just realize that you're a father. You've always wanted to be a father. Now you got that chance. Now be a father. And I had a lot of maturing to do.
What's the most important thing your dad's ever taught you?
I don't know. There's a lot. He taught me to always look for the good when things are bad. Like when we were living in bad places, he'd tell me things and he'd just say that it was gonna be okay and that he was gonna make it better at the end, and then he eventually did.
Is it okay if I ask about how it ended?
Yeah, we had been married for almost about 14 years, and I won't go into details because I don't want to badmouth her, but she cheated with a friend and she left with them and went to be with them. And I tried to make it work with her. I tried to, just say, it happened, but I love you. Like, I want to be with you. And I'm sure it was a struggle for her because it wasn't easy for me to just let it go. So every day I was constantly on her back, like, what are you doing? What's going on? And eventually she just said, I don't love you no more. And she left. And we sat down and talked to the kids. And that was the first thing that came to my head when she said, I'm leaving. The first thing that came to my head was, our kids, what are we going to do about our kids? They need you. I was like, I can't do this by myself. I need help. And she told me, you are the better parent and you can do this. She left that night. And then that was like 2 days after Valentine's Day of almost 7 years ago.
What is it like to not believe you're worthy of love, find it, and then lose it?
It's horrible. I'd rather be burned all over again than to experience that pain. That's just the worst pain I've ever felt in my life. I can think back, I'm literally getting bandages off of me with skin ripping off of me, and I'm like, that compares nothing to what I felt. At least with that physical pain, eventually it dulled out and you got used to it. With heartbreak, it takes years to get over it. And it damaged my self-esteem bad, really bad. I never smiled once. And I wanted nothing to do with nobody. Because I figured that's how everybody else was going to be like. That I would find a friend and then they're just going to be mean and leave me hanging. And I blamed myself for years. I kept trying to think of things that I may have done. I kept thinking like, well, if I had two hands, maybe it wouldn't have bothered her as much. Or maybe if I didn't walk different, or maybe I went through everything in my mind, think of something to try to justify that it was my fault. And took me a long time to get through that. And the one thing that pulled me through it was two things, but the main thing was my kids pulled me through it, because they would see their dad literally crying himself to sleep almost every night. And they couldn't understand. Like, they understood what was going on, but they couldn't understand why I couldn't just get over that. Whereas they took it better than I could. Honestly, I thought they would be worse than I was, but they were way better than I was. And I remember waking up one day, finally, after at least almost 2 years, waking up, and I just looked at my kids, and they were smiling at me, and they hugged me and stuff, and I was like, this is my purpose. This is what I need to do. They need me. We go to the store, and a lot of times kids are scared of the way I look. And she'll come up next to me, and she'll grab my hand and hold it, and look at the kid and smile, or hug me, and show that, I'm not gonna hurt them. I'm safe. I'm not gonna do anything to you. I'm not gonna hurt nobody. And she likes to just come up beside me and support me in those ways too. And most kids don't really have to do that, They just go in a store, do their business, and leave. But every time we go somewhere, they have to deal with that. And I'm very proud of how they are. I'm very proud that they don't let it get to them.
Is that something your dad taught you to do, or did you just learn that yourself?
I just learned it myself.
Why do you like to do that?
Because I don't like the way little kids or older people look at him. And when I smile, they end up smiling back. And then it makes me feel like they understand a little better, even if they don't. Because at least they acknowledge the fact that it's okay for the way he looks.
What do you wish everybody knew about your dad?
That just because the way he looks, he's not mean. He cares, and he's nice.
You said he's not mean. Would you even venture to say that he's goofy?
Mm-hmm.
Tell me about your dad's goofiness.
Well, when I was younger, he would do this crab walk dance. And then me and my cousin and my sister, we used to, every time we see each other, we do it, and then we start laughing, and then we go to my dad, and we talk to him about it, and he starts laughing too. Or he'll start singing random songs in the kitchen out of nowhere.
What do you think when you're out in public and Nevaeh grabs your hand?
I love it. I absolutely love it, because one, she's my baby girl, and I love it when she holds my hand. I love that she's a teenager and it doesn't bother her to do this stuff in front of other kids. Like, she'll hug me, tell me she loves me in front of all of her friends. She doesn't care. It doesn't bother her. And it helps to remind me that even though the people are staring or pointing or saying ugly things, that it doesn't matter. What matters is how I see myself and how my kids see me and stuff. Like, the people closest to you matters. And even though those people out there say these things, it's because they don't understand.
Tell me about your mom.
Mom, she's awesome. And she is very helpful and very loving. Sometimes a little too much, but I think that's a good thing, especially when you need it. She's there for you no matter what. So she gives a shirt off her back for anybody. So.
Tell me about your son.
He's my middle child, and he is wonderful. And I'm very proud of him, and I'm very happy that he survived and that he's with us. And he's just, he's very smart, especially when it comes to electronics. I'm always calling him, I can't do this, and he'll say, Mama. Then he'll do it and teach me how to do it. Sometimes.
You said that you're thankful that Chris is still here, still alive. When the fire first happened, was it likely that he would survive it?
No, they only gave him a 1% chance. and it was awful.
How did the fire impact you physically?
Well, I only have one hand, and the fingers I have on this hand are smaller than normal fingers. So I don't have very good grip. So if I do have to use like a pen or something, I have to make sure it has a grip. Like when I was working, I had to get tools that had grips. My feet, I only have one foot. The other foot is more like a stub or whatever you want to call it, with one little toe on it. And both of my ankles are fused, so I can't move my feet. So when I walk a little different. I have a lot of bone joint issues in my knees, my arms, my shoulders. The skin on me gets extremely dry easily because most of my pores have been melted shut. So the parts that I can sweat is like my neck, a little on the top of my head, and a little on my chest. And then some in my armpit, but everywhere else, can't sweat. So when I'm in any type of heat, I can get hot fast, like really fast. And I have to be careful because there's been times in my life where I didn't want to seem different than other kids or whatever at school, so I just pushed through and I'd dehydrate bad. And I've passed out before from it. Sometimes it's heartbreaking because they don't get to just be kids all the time, because I need help with a lot of things. So they've had to learn how to do things that other kids don't really have to worry about much. Like, obviously they do normal things like most kids, like their laundry and everything. But then they gotta help their dad put his socks on. They gotta help their dad do his shoes and wrap up wounds and stuff and help cook with different things that most kids probably know, but they know how to cook full course meals by themselves, because there's times where I can't get out of bed or something because of pain, or I'd have to sit because I can't walk, and they've had to cook a whole meal by themselves for all of us. And they've had to deal with being in public with me, with people, that how they react to the way I look, or whatever I do looks different than how other people do it. And they've had to be more of an adult in that situation instead of lashing out at people.
It can be difficult sometimes, but it's pretty easy because you get used to always helping and stuff like that. But on the difficult sides, you will also have to help him with a lot of stuff. And since he only has one arm, you would have to help him more and more and more times. Yeah, it's pretty easy.
So easy and hard.
Yeah.
What's easy about it though?
Easy about it is, well, at least he knows how to drive. That's the easy part. And he knows how to cook and everything like that. And he, knows how to, walk and stuff like that, which is easy. And, yeah, it's easy.
A lot of times when people have a disfigurement or disabled or whatever, they do some big thing. You know, they come out triumphant or something, and they have something to show. And I was sitting there like, I got really nothing to show. But now I'm like, I got my kids. I can show my kids off. That's my biggest triumph. Nevaeh is my firstborn, and her name is literally heaven spelled backwards, because I believe she's a gift from heaven, because I was told my whole life I wouldn't have kids. And she is a gift from God, and I'm very proud of her. I'm very amazed by her. She's been like my companion through a lot of things since she's been growing up, since things have been going on with our lives.
Tell me about the fire.
Well, he was a very curious boy. He was 22 months old, and I was cooking supper. His sister was in her bedroom playing Barbies with another friend of hers. And I told her to shut the door because he kept wanting to go in there and play with him. So anyway, he went in the backyard and he was playing on his swing, having a good old time. I was making supper and I turned my head, and then all of a sudden I heard this noise and I thought, what was that? And it sounded like something went poof, And it was Christopher. And you had to walk out on our porch and then go out and come back around the house, into the house to where our washer and dryer was. And the hot water heater was there. And he got a hold of the gas can that we had for the lawnmower. And it was pretty well empty, but the fumes were out. And the hot water heater, the pilot light cut on. And poof, that was the poof I heard. And when I went out and looked, he was fully engulfed. I don't remember all of it, but I do remember trying to pick him up, and I couldn't get anything but skin. But then I really grabbed him and ran back through the house. And my neighbor had seen the smoke, and she had called the fire department and then the ambulance. And he was in shock. He didn't talk. And I really thought, what do I do? I don't remember too much about it. What my neighbors told me, I don't remember any of it.
Were you able to find a job and financially support your daughters when you became a single dad?
No, I have not been able to find one yet. I won't name any places just to be nice, but I've gone to places in person, and usually have to do with computers because I'm really good with fixing computers. And they just look at me and be like, "You have one hand. There's no way you can do this." I'm like, "Give me a chance. I will show you. I will prove to you that I can do this." And most places just don't. They don't want to give you a chance because either one, they're concerned about their customer base of what your image will do to their business. They think that if they come in and see somebody like me, then they're not a good enough business. They're gonna do horrible work. Or two, they think I'm just gonna mess up all the time. So I have yet to find one since I've been a single dad. We were technically homeless for almost 7 years now. And what we did was we just went from place to place where we were living with my sister for a little bit, then my mom, then with a friend, then with another friend, and so on and so on. We went up and down the East Coast for the past, like I said, almost 7 years. And there were times that I felt like a failure. I would look at my kids and just feel so bad for them because I didn't want them to have that life. I wanted them to feel safe, feel loved, feel happy.
How would you describe some of the things you and your dad have been through?
Scary and hard.
And it's hard because there's times that we didn't live in very good places. And it would break my heart for them because I just did not want them to have to experience that in this world. I'll try to sit them down and explain with them like why this thing's happening or what we have to do. And a lot of times it's hard to because I don't want them to know everything because I want them to feel like everything's good, everything's fine.
Do you trust your dad?
Yes, very much. I trust my dad very, very much.
How do you know you can trust him?
Because I've just always trusted him. Like, he's never failed me on stuff. He's just always had my trust. Yeah.
I felt like a failure, a big time failure, because I was like, I'm a father, and fathers are supposed to provide for their kids. They're supposed to keep them safe. And I felt really bad for them. Like, I didn't care really, like, my predicament. I was like, I could sleep wherever. I didn't care, but it was my kids that I wanted to make sure they were comfortable, they were safe, and they didn't have to worry about what's going to happen. And a lot of times, they were scared. They didn't know what was going to happen, where we were going to go. And I would do my best and my hardest to just reassure them it's going to be okay.
Was your dad there to keep you safe even during some of the difficult times?
Yeah.
What was it like to have him there during those times?
It was better because I knew that it was going to be okay at the end.
So there's no social safety net that if something like this happens to a person and they have kids, there's no social safety net and you're just left to fend for yourself.
That's what it feels like. Yeah, a lot of times it feels like that. Like there's programs out there, and I tried going through them, but then they just would drop me at the last minute, and they wouldn't say why, and they wouldn't contact me, or if I contact them, they wouldn't answer. Or just out of nowhere, they just dropped me. Like I went through a program to get a job. I can't remember how long ago it was, but they took me to get clothes for an interview. They took me to get shoes, everything, showed me where I would go to work. And at the last second, they just disappeared. Like they never said a word. And I tried going through other programs, and it seemed like every time that happened. A lot of times I've agreed with them. When I was really depressed and stuff, I would agree, like, yeah, I can't do it. Even if I knew I could do it, my mind would be like, no, you can't do this. They're right. You can't do it. And a lot of times I would just let it eat at me and just get to me. And I would just be so scared that even if I was to try, I'm going to fail anyways. Because I saw my life the way it was, so I figured anything I did, I was going to fail that too.
Do you ever get confused at the way the world treats your dad?
Yeah.
What confuses you about it?
I don't know. I just don't understand why they make mean assumptions. Why they just can't ask a few questions and be nice about it, and then no, and not just say mean things or point or say that's gross and then walk away. They just can't talk to us like we're normal people.
Everybody else can just, go to an interview and just tell them what they can do, answer the questions, and either get hired or whatever. I can't do that. Like, I go in for interviews, and they look at me, and they're like, can you really do this? And I'm like, I can do this. Let me show you. And they don't let me. Like, just why can't they just let me prove to them that I can do this?
What's your favorite thing about Trinity?
Wow. That's hard to pick. I love her goofiness. She has my sense of humor to where she gets things sometimes that other people are like, what? And she's over there laughing. And we can joke with each other. Every morning I take her to school and we just laugh the entire time. And she's, like I said, she's my strong child. And she's very brave with things that it'd be scary. Like, things would be scary in life. Like, either we're not sure, like, we're gonna make the bill, or we're not sure if dad's gonna be able to do this tomorrow or whatever. And she's always like, we got this, we're good. And she's always just, she's been strong, like super strong. Like, I swear she's a superhero secretly. My youngest has been through a lot, and she had bacterial meningitis when she was barely a year old, and we didn't know what to do, and she had to go in the hospital, and they didn't know if she would survive from it because she was so young, and it was so bacterial meningitis attacks your brain and stuff.
He always wants me to be safe, and I get it. I'm younger and everything like that, so he wants me to be safe and everything like that. But at school, I don't even have to walk that far. He'll be like, be safe and everything like that. And I'm like, there's teachers around the entire school and I'll be fine. Or I'll go to school, he'll be like, be safe. And I'll be like, what am I supposed to do? Run away? I can't run away. It's all locked up. What am I supposed to do? It's just funny.
Why is it important for you to tell her to be safe?
Because I know how life can be at times, and because of the things she's been through in her life, I worry constantly about her.
Do you live off of disability income?
I have SSI. I can't get disability because I don't qualify since I wasn't born with a disability. I mean, not born, but I didn't work before I became disabled. So I can't get SSDI, but I get SSI.
Can you describe what SSI is for people who might not be in the U.S.?
SSI is a monthly income that people who are disabled or can't work for some reason, they get a monthly check, or either it goes directly into your
It's
account.
supplemental income.
Yeah, supplemental, and not a lot. I only get like $800 a month.
And that's what you've been living off of.
Yes, that's it. I feel bad at times that I can't do what a lot of other parents can do for teenagers or their younger kids or however old they are.
Do you want your dad to feel bad? He said that sometimes he feels bad that he can't do everything that you want to do.
Oh, I don't want him to feel bad for him not being able to do stuff, because I get it. There's a lot of expensive stuff that I've wished I always have had, but I just can't because I will have to wait. And that's fine for waiting, because that's when you can learn to have patience and stuff like that. And you can like learn how to not always like you can always learn how to not always want stuff. And Dad will always use his money for important stuff that we need. And when he has money for other stuff, he will use that money to get us stuff that we would want. So yeah, I don't want him to really feel bad for stuff that he can't really get us.
There's been times that my car had broken down and I haven't had the money to fix it, so we'd be without a car for a while. And then after saving up a little bit, then I could pay at least part of it. Like, I can't go to like a regular garage because, you know, people are like, okay, this is going to be this much, you have to pay this. Thankfully, I'm friends with people at their own garage and they let me pay monthly. So they know I struggle financially, so they let me pay a certain amount each month. And I have help from, sometimes if my mom can afford it, she'll help me.
What's your favorite thing about Chris?
His smile. His smile, it always makes me smile. And when he don't smile, I feel bad. I feel like, oh no, why does he not smile? And there was times that he didn't smile.
It can get to you, it can eat at you because you're like, am I doing something wrong? Like, what did they do that I didn't do? Like, did I miss something? Like, what am I doing?
What was it like for you living many different places, Trinity?
It's hard because you have to make new friends and get to know everybody. But like when you get used to it, you get used to like making friends easily and everything like that. You get like easy to like just notice the environment and everything like that, and like see how other people are in like different places, and you get to meet new people every time, and you get to see how different people are.
What's your favorite memory you have with your dad?
When I turned 10, my birthday party. Because I wanted a guitar, even though I didn't know how to play, and he got me one.
So even though the circumstances haven't always been ideal, you still find a way to provide these memories for your daughters?
Yes.
Why is that important?
Because I want them to know when they grow up and they're on their own, I want them to have the memories to look back on, so that if they go through hard times, because we all go through hard times, so they're gonna. But I want them to be able to have memories to pull up and know that it's gonna be okay, and it will bring them laughter and joy, and they can carry it on to their kids. I had hope. I always had hope inside. Even when I was so depressed, I still had hope that things were gonna be okay.
And it's quite funny we're filming this interview today because when I emailed you asking for your address, you said you had just moved into your first home ever.
Yes.
Tell me about that.
It's amazing. It came out of nowhere. I was trying to find a place to live, and everywhere I went, like different organizations that offer help didn't have it. Like they were either saying, we don't have any room on the waiting list for you, or we're no longer accepting applications, or we don't have the funds for this. And I didn't give up though. I just kept going and looking and looking and looking. And then what happened was my mother goes to church with a lady that works at the Public Housing Authority here in Plant City. And she said, tell your son on this such and such date, the list is going to be open. Be at the computer at 9 o'clock a.m. to apply online. Because it's a first come, first serve, because it stinks, but all these organizations don't have the funds to do things. So they're very limited. So she was like, he needs to get there as fast as he can. I remember I woke up like 2 hours earlier that day and sat in front of my computer and waited till that moment came. And like a week later, I got a call saying, you got accepted to Section 8. I want them to be happy. I really want them to be happy. And I know that the things we've been through, I would understand if they wound up being depressed or sad at times. But I want them to be able to look back and think about all the good times and how everything we went through together, and we were able to go through anything together. But it's been amazing. I wouldn't ask for anything else. I love being a dad. I love it. It's the best thing in the world to me.
What's your dad like?
Funny? I don't know.
Does he make you laugh a lot?
Yeah.
What kind of things does he do to make you laugh?
He dances and says random things.
My biggest thing in life is I want to encourage people and bring them hope and laughter. I want to bring joy to everybody. And I hope I do that.
Why is it important to bring joy to people?
Because I know it's very hard in life. The world we live in can be very depressing and hard sometimes. There's so much going on around the world that it almost seems hopeless. And if you can just make someone laugh for just a second, that's that second that they just forgot all their problems and they're happy. And when you're happy, your body literally reacts to it and literally does good things to your body. Like laughter and happiness can help heal.
What's the most important thing your dad's taught you?
To never give up. Like I sometimes always just want to give up on stuff, and he'll be like, no, you just gotta keep focusing, and then you'll get to it. So, yeah.
When somebody finishes this interview, what do you hope they remember most from it?
I hope they remember that how happy I am and how I'm not like I used to be years ago, and I'm very more accepting of myself now. I don't beat myself up as much as I used to. Like I used to literally just say mean things to myself in the mirror because I couldn't stand who I was. But now I look in there and I'm like, I'm a handsome dude. I may not be the best looking, but I'm a handsome dude. And my smile, I've been told by so many people that my smile can light up the darkest room. Like everybody I've talked to is like, you have the best smile I've ever seen. And I hope that you would leave happy and being able to know that there's joy and hope amongst everything going on in this world.